Hey guys, this is part 2 of the sample questions on the ACCUPLACER College Board test for the arithmetic section. Parts 1, 3, and 4 will be linked below, which contain the other questions.
So, number 6 reads, what number in the list above has the greatest value? So we can see that these two are in fraction form and these two are in decimal form. Since they are different, we need to put everything in the same form. It's easier to work with these numbers when they are in the decimal form. So we're going to be categorizing these four numbers from greatest to least, and they're basically going to be filled into these boxes right here. So 2.28 and 0.199, they can stay the same because they're in decimal form, and I want to change 8/3 to decimal form first. So I'm going to do this. 3 can go into 8 how many times? 2. 2 times 3 is 6. We subtract, we get 2. So we had to continue, so we add a decimal place right here. We're going to add that decimal place up there as well. We put a 0 for a filler, we bring that down, we get 20. 3 can go into 20 how many times? 6. 6 times 3 is 18, we get a remainder of 2. We can continue, but as you see, we're going to continue to get 6. So this is what 8/3 equals. 2.6 with that 6 repeating. Now we're going to do 10/12. Can 12 go into 10? No. So we have to add this decimal and put a 0 right there. Can 12 go into 100? Yes. 8 times. 8 times 12 is 96. 100 minus 96 is 4. We need to continue to see what else we can add up here next to the 8. So we add that 0 here, we bring that down. Can 12 go into 40? Yes. How many times? 3. So 3 times 12 is 36. We get a remainder of 4. And if we continue doing this, we're going to get 40 and 36. It's going to be repeating. So basically, this is our answer. For 10/12, it's going to be 0.83 with that 3 repeating. So from greatest to least now, we can fill in our little blanks. The greatest number we're going to have is 8/3. This one right here, so that would be the answer. And just filling in the blanks, the second greatest would be B, which would be 2.28. The next greatest would be C, which is 10/12. And the least would be D, 0.199. So our final answer would be A. So number 7 reads, if Manuel deposits 25% of $130 into a savings account, what is the amount of his deposit? So we want to figure out how much is 25% of 130, because that is the amount that he's going to be depositing in his savings account. So key word here, of, means to multiply. So 25% of $130. If you knew what of meant in this case, you would automatically get this question. So 25%, we would have to convert this to a decimal form. That would be 0.25 or 0.25. You don't necessarily have to add that 0 in front, and that's because the decimal place would go 1, 2, because percentage is in hundreds. So we have to move the decimal place over 2 places. So that's the first step. The second step would be to solve the problem with multiplication. So we have this setup down below, and we're going to solve. 0 times 5 is 0. 3 times 5 is 15. And 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. Now we go to the second one. 2 times 0 is 0. 3 times 2 is 6. And 2 times 1 is 2. We add that up. We can add a 0 here to fill in the space. 0 plus 0 is 0. 5 plus 0 is 5. 6 plus 6 is 12. And 1 plus 2 is 3. So, the decimal place. Since this decimal place is 2 units over, our new decimal place down here is going to be 2 units over as well. So it's going to be right here. So the amount of money that Manuel deposited in his savings account is $32.50, and that would be option C. Number 8 reads, what is 1,582 plus 761? So this is a simple math problem. We're going to add because the question has an addition sign right there. So 2 plus 1 is 3. 8 plus 6 is 14. 1 plus 5 is 6. Plus 7 would be 13. And 1 plus 1 is 2. And our decimal place, our comma always goes 3 numbers over. So 1, 2, 3 would be where our comma goes. So this is our answer. 2,343. 2,343 is option D. With this problem, it is very simple. The way you can get it mixed up is if you line it up differently. So if you line up the numbers like this, and I guess if you add a 0 filler there, but now this changes this number from 761 to 7,610. So it just depends how you line up your numbers. So make sure you line it up correctly. The 1 is in the ones place. The 6 is in the tens place. The 7 is in the hundreds place. And this number finishes. So over here, the 1 is in the thousands place. Basically, we're going to line up all the colors together with my arrows that I just drew right over here. So this is a very simple problem. Don't get it mixed up and don't mess it up. Just line up the numbers according to their arrows and the places that the numbers go in. Again, the answer is option D. Number 9 reads, Xiaoming is making cookies. Each batch of cookie uses 3 eggs. If Xiaoming has 20 eggs, and assuming he has enough of the other ingredients to make cookies, what is the greatest number of batches he can make? So we're going to start over, and we're going to write down the information that we have. So we're making cookies, and each batch of cookie uses 3 eggs. So we have one batch is 3 eggs. And the total eggs we have right now are 20. So we have 20 eggs. And we want to find out what is the greatest amount of batches of eggs we can make with the batches of cookies we can make with the total amount of eggs we have, which is 20. We can solve this problem in one of 2 ways. There's one called a proportion, and there's another one just called simple division. They're both dividing, but it's just the setup that is a little bit different. But essentially we're doing the same thing. So I'll show you the proportion way. We have batch, and we have 3 eggs. Basically, a proportion is when you have 3 pieces of information and you're trying to find the 4th one. So we know one batch equals 3 eggs. So down here, we're going to line it up and put batch, and this is eggs. Proportions always have to match each other. So if this side is talking about batch, then this side would be talking about eggs. So we want to find out what is the greatest number of batches we can find. So this is our x. We don't know what this guy is. And over here, the eggs, we have 20 eggs. So now we're going to cross multiply. So we have 1 times 20 is 20. We're going to bring down that equal sign. And 3 times x is 3x. So to get rid of that 3 from the x, because we want to solve for x, we're going to divide by 3. Divide by 3. And then we have x equals 20 over 3. This is our answer. To figure out what 20 over 3 is, we're going to do long division. So I'll do that over here. So 3 can go into 20 how many times? 6. When we subtract, we get, 6, 18. When we subtract, what do we get? We get 2. We want to keep on going. So we're going to put that decimal place. We're going to add a 0, bring this down. We're going to have to go again and get 18 again. So that would be 6 as well. So if we continue this problem, we're going to realize we're going to get 6.6 repeating. And basically the greatest number we can get is 6. It's not 7 because it doesn't reach 7 yet. So out of our options A, B, C, or D, our answer is going to be B for number 6. If you didn't think of the proportion for this problem, that's fine. You would just have to know to do 20 over 3. And it would be 20 over 3 because 20 is the total amount of eggs that we have, and we want to see what we can make, how many batches of cookies we can make if each batch is 30 eggs. Keyword here in this problem is each. Each would mean to divide. In this problem, we would not put 3 over 20. Even though 20 is the total amount of eggs we have, we're not trying to solve this way. We're trying to solve for each batch of cookies. We have 3 eggs that we need to be using, and in total we have 20 eggs. So we have to figure out, if we have 20 eggs, how many batches of cookies can we make? So this one would be the correct way to solve this, and you can figure that it's 20 over 3 if you did the proportion down below. Side note, if you wanted to do the proportion a different way, you most definitely could have. I'm going to keep this in the corner over there. This is one way. Another way you could have done it, which would have been perfectly fine, is if you put 3 eggs down here and the batch over here. You see that the batch and the batch are still lined up, and the eggs are still lined up. And one batch goes with 3 eggs, so this is still lined up with each other. So with that being said, now we can fill in an x here and 20 here. We're going to cross multiply here and here. We would still get 20 equals 3x. Solve all the way. X equals 20 over 3, which we figured out was 6.6 repeating. That's another way you could have just set it up differently. I'm going to put that in the corner. If you set it up like this, one batch, and let's say you put the 3 eggs over here, and then you put the eggs up here and the batch here, this would not be okay because the one batch has to go with the 3 eggs. And the fact that it's not directly next to it or below it, it would give you the wrong answer. You cannot have these guys separated from each other like that. It can either be next to it like this one, or it can be right below it like this one. The fact that this guy is like this, it's too far. This is not going to work. So that was a little bit more into detail about than this problem wanted. This problem was a simple division problem, and if you realize that from the first step, you could have done this and moved on. but I'm explaining this problem just for anyone who needs it. It could have been done this way, or that way from the beginning. All in all, our answer for number 9 is B. 6 is the greatest amount of batches of cookies that he can make. Number 10 reads, what is the value of 3.85 plus 0.004 plus 0.117? Basically, this is a simple addition problem where it wants us to add. We have to know that we need to line up the decimals. If we do not line up the decimals, then you would get this problem wrong. So we can add a 0 here, or we don't have to, it's up to you. Basically, we're just going to add 0 plus 4 is 4, 4 plus 7 is 11, 1 plus 5, 6, 6 plus 0, 6, plus 1, 7, 8 plus 0, 0, 8 plus 1, 8, 3 plus 0 plus 0 is 3. So our answer for this problem is, I don't know why I did that, 8 plus 0, 0, plus 1 is 9. So this answer would be C. 3.971. The way they can trick you on this is if you did not line up the decimals correctly. For instance, let's say we wanted to line up the numbers like this. And add it this way. Let's say you want to put a 0 there. You would add this up and it would give you another answer over here. It would not give you the correct answer. And that's just because the decimals are not lined up. When you add or use addition, you need to line up the decimals. When you multiply, you don't have to line up the decimals, you just have to line up the numbers. So this is a good tip for you guys to remember. When we're adding, we need to line up the decimals if we have any decimals, and if we're multiplying and we have decimals, we need to line up the numbers, not the decimals. So this is our final answer for number 10.